Hello, in this video I want to talk about the power of words and how just changing one word could help your recovery. Okay, it might be two actually. So it's duty of from self. So duty of care from self-care. There's a duty of care by law, a social contract and responsibility towards others. You could call it having a conscience or be consciously aware, and I want to continue on from my video on Monday, which I actually posted late, but from Monday, which is understanding what duty of care is, understanding your next steps and where you go from where you are at the moment to where you want to be. Understanding the process of healing from emotional abuse is helpful, but understanding where you are on the journey and what to expect is crucial. Hello, my name's Elizabeth Goddard from the Divorce Sanctuary. I'm author of Finding Lily and the A to Z of Emotional Abuse. On this channel, I talk about healing from emotional abuse and healing both physically and emotionally from the emotional abuser. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're returning back, thank you. And thank you so much to all my new subscribers over the last few weeks and couple of months. Has been absolutely amazing. The power of words and how just changing one word can help your recovery. Duty of care is a moral or legal obligation to ensure the safety or well-being of others. Very much like employers have a duty of care to their employees. This might be an unfamiliar concept to you. You've been programmed to put others' needs above your own, and you might even find it difficult thinking about having a duty of care towards yourself. What sort of things do you have in place to check that you are okay? There is a duty of care by law that we each have a social contract, a responsibility towards others within society. That we know we shouldn't walk past or by a person if we are fit enough and it's safe enough to help them. But we too easily walk by ourselves, by our dreams and our goals. We easily put our lives on hold for others, overriding our needs, our desires, and our life's purpose to help other people. The word itself, duty, is quite heavy. And it is also two-faced. The duty of care can be used to guilt trip you into doing something for another person or a group of people. It is your duty to do something or not to do something. It's like a universal contract. If you see some wrongdoing happening, you're duty bound to report it, or you might be complicit in that action. Perhaps you might be told it's your duty to protect someone and not saying anything about a wrongdoing. Duty of care is a moral or legal obligation to ensure the safety or well-being of others. But what if that duty isn't reciprocated? The people claiming you have a duty to do something never balance those scales, always taking, never giving. And it can be even more frustrating if you're brought up in a narcissistic family unit, never allowed to leave. You're told by them and society that you have a duty of care to that aging parent or carer. Society tells us that we should be caring for the people who nurtured us. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you suddenly realise that unit was more harming than it was nurturing. But because of the secrecy and the lying and the pretending that goes on, hiding the dysfunction, you feel shame for your thoughts, or you feel guilty for dreaming of the life you want to live and knowing it is your right. The narcissistic parent created bonds that would be difficult to break, and they created codependency in their children, making it hard for them to break away and live a life independently. You have a duty of care to yourself. You need to look out for yourself, especially if you have people who take advantage of a generous and caring nature. It's your duty to care for yourself. When you reverse the statement, things change. You have a duty to care for yourself. You have a duty to ensure your needs are met. You have a duty to ensure your environment is safe for you and any dependents you have. You might find this statement hard to wear. It's a bit like an ill-fitting suit to start with. You very possibly put the needs of other people before yours, and from a very young age. If you were the scapegoat, you might recognise this. And I'll put the links to both my videos on the scapegoat within the family. The feeling of looking out for yourself, putting yourself first, isn't tailor-made for you. You were actually given hand-me-downs. Those emotions past, the emotional immaturity or the woundings of your parent or caregiver that they were lugging around. And you were expected to wear them as if they were made for you. And you were expected to be okay with that. You were programmed to listen and respond and react to the so-called caregiver. That programming can be taken to other relationships, and you might find that you're at work with someone who demands so much of you, or friends that do the same. And it happens in romantic relationships as well. People often ask why you don't just walk away from an abusive relationship, and there are a few reasons. But one of those is that you don't recognise the abuse that's taking place because you've experienced it before. And in a way, it actually feels safe because you understand the rules, or you partially understand the rules. I think the word duty is a stronger, more authoritative word than self-care. You have a duty to protect yourself. You have a duty of care towards your children. It's a moral or legal obligation to ensure the safety or well-being of others. You do have a duty of care. It is your duty to look out for yourself. And it might not feel right to start with because you were programmed in the opposite way. So you weren't shown what it was like to have healthy boundaries. And they might not have appeared in your vocabulary unless it was preceded with a sentence that included another person. So I'm really sorry, I'd love to come, but I'm already busy helping someone else out. And if you try to say no to someone for a personal reason, like having respect for your own time or just not wanting to do something, you might experience emotions like shame or guilt. I have referenced this book before, but in Mario Martinez's book, The Mind-Body Code, he talks about 3 core emotions, which are shame, guilt, and abandonment. Shame and guilt are very similar, but they are very different, a bit like twins. Research suggests that there are very different emotional processes. They are a gauge for self-correction. But there is a very different brain chemistry triggering different reactions. And it might be that you were programmed in a certain way that manipulated your response. Guilt arises when we think that we have done damage to something or someone, whereas shame arises when we believe that we are damaged in some way. So, for example, we're unlovable, unkind, inferior. They are our internal guides, reminding us of the rules. Shame is far more damaging to us over time. We're social creatures and we need to be with people. We need our tribe for survival. And the fear of being kicked out of that tribe works twofold. The fear of not being in a tribe is an emotion that's been passed down generation to generation with its own set of rules. To be removed from the tribe would have meant that we were on our own, left to survive the saber-toothed tiger. Obviously, we're less likely to come across that today, but as a threat, we still have these emotions. So when we misbehave, our brains release stress hormones that motivate us to adjust our behaviour. This conditioning triggers our stress hormones, and you might have found that you're living in a state of alert, and very possibly have been for a long time. Your duty of care may involve self-care, and I'll link my workbook on self-care in the description box below. So going back to my analogy earlier of being handed clothes that don't fit you, these emotions that are passed down from a parent or caregiver, you have a duty of care to go to a tailor and to buy a suit that fits you perfectly. Try made to measure. But if that's too scary, you can buy one that's in your size off the peg. Go and see a specialist who can help you choose the right colour for you, the right fit for you and your body shape. I am talking metaphorically here. Before I get lots of messages saying you told me to go and buy a new suit, or a new set of clothing. You were given hand-me-down clothes or hand-me-down emotions. They weren't yours. They weren't bought for you. They were just passed on. They were the wrong size or for the wrong season. Create a duty of care list. Keep reminding yourself you have a duty to feel whole. You have a duty to feel. And then start adding your own statements. And then create a shopping list of what you need. A bit like creating a recipe. What ingredients do you need to add? It might just need a pinch of something. I found grounding very helpful, coming out of the continual thought process and the conversations that were on loop, and reliving the situation that kept pressing release on the hormones of shame. I will also post a link to a meditation I did for grounding. By staying in your body, you can look at situations differently. You can also tune into your body and talk to your wounds and find out what they really want and what they need. And listen to what they have to say. Believe me, it really, really does work. Shame and guilt are similar, a bit like twins. They look the same, but they have their own personalities. They are a gauge for self-correction, but there is a different brain chemistry, triggering different reactions within us. Shame arises when we believe that we are damaged in some way, whereas guilt arises when we think that we have hurt someone or damaged something. Shame is internal, guilt is external. And the overwhelming emotion of guilt can occur without anyone else knowing what we did. It arises when our behaviour conflicts with our conscience that's linked to our internal value system and not that of other people's. As children, we internalise the critical voices that we heard. Children are sponges and they believe everything. And children who experience guilt and shame growing up are likely to continue that pattern as an adult. If you're experiencing this emotion, which is releasing the stress hormones, you can calm your body down by grounding. It will also help you stop the conversations in your head. And whilst you're there, you can talk to the wound and ask it what it needs. And really listen to what it says and how it's feeling. You might find a memory pops up, and you might find it beneficial to journal on this and trace back that story. I will also put the link to my free workbook, Turn Broken into Your Superpower. I wrote it for people going through a physical divorce from emotional abuser, but it's got some really good tools in there that will help you lay down the foundations for your future. Your life was destroyed in every area, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. And this is why it's so important that you start to realise that you have a duty of care. And so do other people have a duty of care towards you. The aim is that at the end of the workbook, you will have a clearer idea of what you need or want from your divorce, as well as the knowledge, strength, and ability to step into your warrior goddess power or God power. A warrior is confident and has an inner strength. They are assertive and disciplined, and they are active and brave. And you may feel none of these, or you might be able to tap into one or two at the moment, but the hope is that you can start to align and create a plan of action that works for you. The word duty can sound heavy, but once you start to understand it and wear it in a way that can help you, you can start creating stronger boundaries and start to understand your purpose in life. And it might be the injection of power that you need to take control of your life. You have a moral and legal obligation to ensure the safety of your well-being. I hope you found this video useful or helpful. If you'd like to find out more ways of working with me, I'm going to put the links to my website below, along with the links to, as said in the video, both the workbooks, Self-Care is Vital and Turn Broken into Your Superpower. I will also put the link to my grounding meditation and the links to both my books, Finding Lily and the A to Z of Emotional Abuse. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, and I'm sending you loads and loads and loads of love on your journey.